Hello folks and welcome back to the channel. This is episode 5 of my ongoing series, My History of Board Games. It's a series where I look at all the games I played for the first time in chronological order since I started recording stats back in January of 2020. As always, each video will see me talking about 5 games, from my first impressions of them, general playthroughs over the last couple of years, and whether or not it's still in my collection, or if it was even someone else's copy. So let's get straight into it with number 21 on my long list. And right off the bat, we have a game that is pure Marmite when it comes to the board game hobby, and that is Exploding Kittens. Released in 2015, my first recorded play was February 2020, but I have played this game quite a lot before I start recording my stats. So I had a friends group of casual gamers. We used to get together every couple of months and play things like Cards Against Humanity and those kind of like sort of party quiz games that you get, like a Geek Battle that I mentioned in the last video. And we'd always end our night with Exploding Kittens. I did end up getting, I think, all 3 of the expansions, Imploding, Barking, and whatever the other one is. And yeah, it's a lot of people have either hated this game from the beginning or kind of gone sour on it over the intervening years. I mean, it's been 10 years now, and there are a lot of sort of cheap knockoff versions, especially in the crowdfunding scene. A lot of people look to want to jump on that bandwagon. Exploding Kittens as a company have gone on, obviously, to do a whole host of big party games, some of which are enjoyable, some of which I've not found interesting at all. I don't think they've ever or will ever beat Exploding Kittens and the success that has had. But it's all it is a simple card game where players have a hand of cards, and most of the cards have some kind of power, like letting you skip a go, making other players pick up multiple cards. But at the end of your turn, no matter whether you played a card or not, you have to draw a card from the deck. And this is where the titular Exploding Kitten comes in, because littered within that deck are a number of Exploding Kittens to the player count -1. So this is a game where you win by just everyone else going out of the game. And if you're unlucky enough to detonate an Exploding Kitten, then that is you out, unless you have a diffuse card, which is always amusing because there's more diffused cards than there are players, and it's fun finding out when you think someone's spent one already on a previous turn and then they pull out another one that they managed to draw from the deck. But yeah, anyway, it's all about kind of tripping each other up, causing each other as much hassle as possible by playing cards that get you into trouble. There's other cards that can help you out, like shuffling the deck if you know someone's placed a card, because when you blow up with an Exploding Kitten, if you are able to defuse it, you can then put that Exploding Kitten back into the deck. And this is my favorite part of the game, because I've had friends who have just, some people take the deck. I do it. I take the deck and under the table I'll decide whether to put it. I'll either put it right at the bottom for funsies, or put it on top, or I'll shuffle it in the middle for pure chaos. So even I don't know what's going to happen. But I've had some friends that will look me in the eye as they place the card on the top of the deck, knowing that I'm the next player to go. And I just love that kind of, it's a game that just brings out a lot of banter. Very simple rules. It's super easy to teach. There's no casual player that I've tried this with that has struggled with it. And it's a shame that it gets kind of a bad deal now. Like I say, a lot of people have probably gone off it. It was very successful when it first started on crowdfunding. One of the most successful games on crowdfunding to date, I believe, still. It's just a silly party game. It should be enjoyed for what it is. You don't have to like it, but I feel like it gets a lot of negativity that it doesn't deserve. And for me, it's a fallback game, especially when I've got casual gamers around. It's a fun way to end the night with everyone just gunning for each other with those cards. We also have the Not Safe for Work edition, which the child in me loves, because I still to this day can be found tittering at certain cards when they come up with the illustrations and the text that goes with them. But yeah, it's just silly fun. And this game, we don't really play with the expansions anymore. There was 3 expansions. There was Imploding, Streaking, and Barking, and they don't really add much to the game. We plugged them in for a while. If you plug in all 3, a game can go on for an hour or more. It's ridiculous. So I only really play base game now. But yeah, that will always stay in my collection, because there's always an opportune time to pull out a game of Exploding Kittens. So next we go to the other end of the scale, from a small box card game to a giant box full of minis and plastic components, and it's the Zombicide Black Plague, released in 2015. This was a game that I was drawn to because the friends that got me into the hobby back in 2019 had both Blood Rage and Rising Sun, 2 games from Simon, And I just, as soon as they sort of unboxed these games for me and showed me all the minis and that, it just took me back to my childhood when I used to do miniature gaming, and I wanted something from their catalogue. And because they already had those games, I looked to see what else they'd done, and Zombicide sounded interesting, but the Black Plague version with the fantasy setting just blew my mind, and I managed to find the base game and the Green Horde sort of spin-off sequel and a couple of the expansions. And I just remember I had like my one single Kallax shelf I got early on in the hobby was just like 2 cubes fill up straight away. But it's a co-op game where you're sort of working through a bunch of scenarios, mostly trying to get your characters to either find something, to escape from a location, with hordes of zombies spawning around the map trying to do you in. And this is a game, if you've got the right group, I can see this being a firm favourite. But I got this just before we went into lockdown for the pandemic. So for a good few months, I was stuck playing it solo. And in solo mode, there's no reduction in the player characters. So you need to play as all the characters, which is just like spinning plates. So there's 6 characters in the game. So if you play 3 players, everyone's got to have 2 characters, and that immediately started putting me off the game. Plus the size of it wasn't a game that I was keen to drag around to games nights, and at the time I didn't have the space to host games nights myself. It was a game that I brought but based solely on the looks and the hope of how I wanted the experience to be, without thinking about the practicality of it. Like I say, for the right group, this is a fantastic game. It's pure Ameritrash, dice rolling, playing cards, zombies, all smashing up on board. Fantastic if you've got the group to enjoy it. It turned out I didn't, and after only a couple of solo plays of the base game, I eventually sold off all of the content I had for it. I would like to try it again. I would love to have a game of like full 6 players and just see how it goes. But there's no point in me keeping that on my shelf. I don't have the people that would be interested in playing it. The good thing is, with a lot of CMON games, you can really get your money back. So I didn't take a loss on it. I just missed out on the experience. But yeah, that's a game that's it kind of directed me to be more careful about my purchases going forward, and thinking about if I will be able to actually enjoy them, as opposed to just the wanting of the enjoyment. Yeah. And with that, we come crashing back down to small box card games with Love Letter, which was published in 2012. This is a fantastic little card game. It's made up of a deck of cards that has sort of royal characters on them, from sort of like number 1, the guard, up to number 9, the princess. But there's some of the numbers have multiple copies of them. And on your turn, so every player gets handed a card at the start of the game, and then on your turn you draw from the deck, and you have 2 cards, and you choose which one to play, and that will then affect the game. So there's some abilities that let you look at another player's hands, then you've got information about what they've got. Some that let you swap hands, some that let you guess what they've got in their hand, and then if you're correct, they are knocked out of the game. And it's a game where you play round after round until you hit a win condition, a number of points based on the player count. It's such a simple game to teach. It really, because there's only there's a set number of actions across the cards, and then you've just got a choice of 2 cards on your turn, and you're trying to gather information that makes it easier for you to then knock people out without giving anything away that you've got. And the powers, once you play a few rounds, and it's really fun watching new players after a round or 2 start clicking about how to use the powers to their benefit. Yeah, such a simple rule set, but very, very clever. And once you've got everyone on sort of top form, trying to outdo each other by like getting views of cards, and you can sometimes see a player click that they're going to be out because of something that's just been revealed, and they just know there's nothing they can do to stop it. Really good game. And because you play round after round, you know, if you lose the first round or 2, it doesn't matter, because you can still come back in other rounds, because the luck of the deck can sometimes be with you. And obviously there's a whole bunch of spin-offs for Love Letter now. You've got the Lovecraft version. We've got the Marvel version. We still haven't played that one. So don't expect to see that on the history series for a long time yet. There's the Star Wars Jabba version, but I think the original it does everything perfectly, and doesn't need to be changed in any way. So yeah, Love Letter, a game that I don't see played often enough. I don't play it often enough, but it just works perfectly. The next game on my list is another entry where I have played it before I start recording stats a couple of times, but my first recorded play was in March 2020, and that's Takenoko, published in 2011, or more commonly known as Panda Nom Nom. This is a game that's kind of drifted away from a lot of people's collections now. It doesn't show up as much. It's one of those classics that people have grown on from. But it's just a very fun game of expanding a garden via giant hex tiles, moving a garden around to grow bamboo, moving a panda around to eat that bamboo, and you have a set of cards based on the gardener, the panda, and the garden itself that have criteria that you must complete on your turn to score points. And the first player to complete a set amount of those cards triggers the end game. Might not be the winner, because if you've scored less cards but with more points, you might take the win. But it's a beautiful little game. It's sort of very colourful with the pinks, greens, and yellows of the tiles and the bamboo stalks, and the cards and the player boards are just really well done. It's a game that it plays pretty good at 2. Like, I've always enjoyed it at 2-player. And then you go up to the full 4-player count, and it becomes chaos because, you know, between your turns, everyone's moving, everyone's moving the gardener or the panda around, and bamboo's just going up, down, all over the place, and you can't work out where you're going to go. 2 is a little harder to defend. It's a more relaxed play, I feel, because the panda and the gardener are only being moved once from your last turn. We also have the Chibis expansion, which brings the mama panda and the babies into the game. These offer there's a few extra tiles in the game. There's like another pond tile and a few that make growing a lot easier when they're done. There's the baby tokens themselves. So when you move the mama panda to the daddy panda, and the 2 pandas love each other very much, they'll have a little circular cardboard token together, and you get to choose from a pile of tokens based on the color of bamboo that the 2 pandas ate before they got busy with each other. And they'll have just extra bonus abilities, but they're also worth points at the end of the game. In fact, the last time me and my wife played this, we thought she'd won, and before I realised I hadn't scored any of my chibi tokens, and I just clinched it. And unfortunately, she shies away from making panda babies for some reason, and that time it cost her. But yeah, so there's 3 different decks of cards, as I explained, with the garden objectives, the panda objectives, and the gardener objectives. And the gardener ones are always the more difficult ones to do, because people can just be eating the bamboo before you reach certain heights in certain tiles and criteria. So they were getting avoided, and everyone was kind of just like always taking the really easy ones, which is usually the garden ones, because you can kind of flip it and see that tile configuration is already done. So we did the variant now, where we just shuffle the gold cards up, and if you want to take a gold card, you get what you're lumped with. And it does make the game a little bit more crunchy, I find. But yeah, Panda Nom Nom it's one of the first games I ever played with my wife in person when we started having our sort of weekend meetups back in mid-2020. And I've just loved it ever since I first started playing it. And it's a shame that you don't see it played much. We probably don't play it as much as I would like to. But yeah, it's one of the cutest games in our collection, and it will stay in here forever and ever. And the last game in this video is Kingdomino, published in 2016. This is a fantastic gateway game where players are drafting domino tiles with different biomes on them and trying to place them into their kingdom to maximize their score. It's got a really clever drafting mechanic that's been seen in games more recently, like Middle Ages and 10B, where the order from top to bottom that you draft a tile in one column dictates the turn order for choice on the next column. The tiles are numbered 1 to 49, I believe, with the higher numbered tiles always being worth, usually more, they've got more crown scoring on them, or they're the rarer biomes. It's just such a really good game. You're drafting into your kingdom with a size limitation as well, so it becomes a placement puzzle as you try to fit within a 5x5 grid, or if you play the variant of 7x7. There are extra points if you get a perfect kingdom, like a perfect square, and sometimes you'll have placed dominoes down and then screwed yourself over because you can't fit a 2x1 tile in a 1x1 space at the top. But yeah, so you'll finish your kingdom, and then once all the turns, because you just played until the tiles are gone. Once all the turns are over, you will then go through all the, I want to say six biomes. It might be 7. I think it's 6. And you'll go through each biome and then score the number of squares. So each domino tile has 2 squares, and obviously, and you will score each square and then multiply that by the amount of crowns within that biome. So, for example, if you had a forest that was made up of 10 squares, and you only had 1 crown in that biome at all, 10 points. But if you had 3 crowns dotted around those 10 tiles, 10 squares, 30 points. So it's really about getting that mix of a nice spread, the large biomes with a high number of crowns in them. Yeah, I just really like. I like the drafting mechanic. I really like that in games where you can maybe you want to take a weaker tile this round because you can see like one that you really want in the next round, and you'll give up turn order basically. You'll gain turn order, but you know, draft a naff tile. And I also like the puzzle afterwards of trying to place those things, because there is placement rules where, other than the castle, you have to have one of your 2 squares on a domino touching another of the same biome. So it becomes very puzzly trying to get that out and keep it within a 5x5 square. I think there's also sort of like extra rules you can play where you get bonus points for completing a 5x5, and also for doing so with your castle in the middle. Because I've had one sometimes where my plans have gone out the window and my castle is like the furthest left square and the entire kingdom is built out to one side. But yeah, really easy to teach, colourful to play, and quick. And I know there's variations and sequels. We have played Queendomino, which gets covered many videos down the line, but I haven't tried any of the other ones. But I think the original is just a super fun and quick gateway game. And there we have it, another video done in my ongoing series, My History of Board Games. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the 5 games I've talked about today. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on those I've included. As always, you can find me over on my website, alwaysplayblue.com, where I do weekly reviews and monthly blogs. And also follow me on Instagram at alwaysplayblue. And also, because I forgot last time, please like and subscribe to the channel so you can keep up to date with this series as it continues on and on for many years to come. But with that, enjoy your time gaming, and I'll see you in the next video. Every time I glance down at my t-shirt while making this video, I just keep getting Spaceman by Babylon Zoo in my head. If you're old enough to know what that is, you're welcome for that being in your head for the rest of the day.